You can go all across America, and this is the coolest game you'll find. Moving 44 pounds of granite down a sheet of ice in a game of millimeters, it's a unique blend of strategy and sweat, and it's helped curling capture the imagination of sports fans throughout the nation. So it's only appropriate that for this season, we ride the rocking game's growing wave of popularity to the southeast, Raleigh, North Carolina, where America's best are back to take on the world in a four-nation round-robin tournament for the coveted American Cup. Tonight, opening night, and Team Schuster is in the house. How will the defending Olympic champions cope with a young, fiery Scottish squad hoping to set the tone and draw one? It's a question that will be answered tonight as we kick off Season 6 of Curling Night in America. NBCSN proudly presents another season of NBCSN Curling Night in America. After 5 campaigns throughout the Midwest, we're sliding our way south to Raleigh, North Carolina, capital city of the state and the second largest city next to Charlotte in North Carolina, inside the Polar Iceplex. That's where things will go down as the best from the United States matched up against some other top curlers from around the globe. Our feature game tonight, the U.S. men against Team Scotland. Hi there, Jason Knapp here. Welcome to Raleigh, North Carolina, and welcome to what we hope is another rip-roaring season of NBCSN Curling Night in America. If you're unfamiliar with the format, it's pretty simple. We've got 4 nations on hand: Scotland, Japan, Italy, and the United States this season, each bringing 3 teams, men's, women's, and mixed doubles. Each team plays the other 3 in its division twice. When all is said and done, we'll crown overall champions in those divisions, and the top nation overall brings home the coveted American Cup. Glad to have Pete Fenson, 8-time U.S. national champion, 2006 Olympic bronze medalist, on the call with me again this season. And Pete, we start with John Schuster and the United States men. Of course, the electric run to Olympic gold a couple of winters ago. Last season, Schuster incorporated a new player on the team and had increased expectations, and still won a higher percentage of games on tour than he ever has before.
Yeah, it was actually quite amazing with the addition of Chris Plies coming off the gold medal for the team. They picked up right where they left off. They did not miss a beat, and they look as good as ever.
Looking forward to seeing them here this season. They'll take on Scotland tonight, of course, the nation, the birthplace of the game, hosting the Men's World Championships this season. Pete, there are a lot of good men's teams, young ones, in the Scottish pipeline, and we'll see one of them tonight with skip Luke Carson.
Yeah, this happens to be a very young and quite inexperienced team internationally. They're really going to be tested against John Schuster on this championship ice.
Yeah, they'll get some experience against the recent Olympic gold medalist. Well, before we get going tonight, time to meet the 3rd member of our team again this season. Let's check in with Tanith White.
Well, it's pretty safe to say that for the members of the 2018 U.S. Men's Olympic Curling Team, the last year or two have just been a whirlwind of excitement and opportunity since winning that historic gold medal in Pyeongchang for the United States. But in the past, curling's popularity has taken a bit of a step back in the years in between being able to take that Olympic stage. So when I caught up with John Schuster and his teammates, I asked them, have things settled down? Does it feel like it's getting back to normal? They all looked at me and said, not at all. Their popularity, the appearances, the opportunities just continue to roll in for the gold medalists on this team. And all the while, curling still very much a top priority. They kept quite busy last season. When I spoke with John Schuster, he told me it was probably one of our best seasons in recent memory. So now the focus shifts to 2022, and already this team is looking ahead to their next opportunity on that Olympic stage and a chance to defend their gold.
Tana, thanks. That's in the future for John Schuster. In the present, it's dealing here with Scotland. You saw the rock colors. The United States will play yellow rocks. It's red rocks for the Scots. Alistair Schreiber with the first here. And again, Pete, we'll see what this young team has against the Olympic gold medalists. Maybe one of the biggest games of their career.
Yeah, they really should have their hands full. Quite young and inexperienced up against not only the Olympic gold medalist, but a very experienced Team USA.
First one right near the button as we meet the Scots.
Alistair Schreiber, Glasgow, Scotland. Mark Taylor, Glasgow, Scotland. Stuart Taylor, Glasgow, Scotland.
Luke Carson, Hamilton, Scotland.
John Landsteiner been the lead for John Schuster since 2011 from Duluth, Minnesota.
Where?
Ultra consistent in his position for the Americans.
If you ever get a chance.
Probably not.
It's Chris if you get a chance. Len's getting better though.
It's like real close to the climax.
I don't think it's in. 14-8 should be good. Go ahead, Chris. Last few feet here. Out of the way, Steiner, nice there, bud.
So John Schuster's team plays its first, and time for us to meet Team USA.
John Landsteiner, Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah, count me in, baby. Matt Hamilton, McFarland, Wisconsin.
Chris Plies, God's Country, Duluth, Minnesota.
John Schuster, Superior, Wisconsin.
Again, it's an 8-end game in our Curling Night in America format. U.S. with hammer here in the opening end, the last shot. 8 rocks for each team in each of the 8 ends. Closest to the center for one team, then the nearest rock or their foe. Those are the ones that count.
We
don't want to touch it.
Second here from Schreiber.
No.
Nice all. Good judge.
Scott's really wanted to keep that one short of the rings. You see that one stopping just in time.
If you're rolling off, that's great. Should really go. Yep.
Solid, huh?
John Landsteiner,
Solid.
his second
Hard.
in the first.
Hard.
So good.
Landsteiner throwing this nice and soft here, trying just hack weight to
Yep, keep going.
remove that rock from
rolling
the
as hard as
forefoot.
this way, bud.
Love to roll it under the corner guard.
Throw, Steiner.
Pete, if you're John Schuster and you're an Olympic gold medalist team and you're playing a team that's maybe playing under TV lights and a big stage for the first time, are you being ultra aggressive here right away?
I'm sure John's going to be aggressive relatively early in this game. That's kind of his style anyway, but yeah, he understands as well that there's a bit of a mismatch here, so I'm sure he's going to try and put some pressure on this young team.
Mark Taylor, 21-year-old, second
okay
for
here,
the
Matt.
Scots.
I had Steiner
With the hit.
here. You
Probably
like
pretty
that?
close. Maybe a touch more.
Sure.
What do you like for a number?
You threw an 85, I think. So I think if I throw close to an 85 now on this track, it should be close.
Yeah, 85, 90, I think.
And after the stoic John Landsteiner, it is the garrulous Matt Hamilton.
Easy then.
Second here for Team Schuster
Through.
from McFarland,
Steiner,
Wisconsin,
get ready here.
outside of Madison.
We can come off this one. Go ahead, Steiner. Get it going.
Matt's just trying to throw an out-turn freeze, trying to take advantage of that Scottish stone that rolled under the corner guard.
Your weight was actually good, Matt.
Yeah.
Little misread there on the amount of ice taken by John Schuster.
just tight. 2, 3.
NBCSN Curling Night in America is being brought to you by TeamUSAShop.com, where every purchase helps support your Team USA athletes. By the World Curling Federation, proud supporter of curling everywhere. By the 20,000 plus members of USA Curling. And by Toyota, going places. Just underway, new season of NBCSN Curling Night in America. John Schuster and Team USA with rocks in play here against Luke Carson. And his Scottish side, Mark Taylor, the second for this group. He and the skip, actually, the male players for a 4-player mixed team in Scotland that won the Scottish mixed title, giving them the chance to go to the World Championships in that format.
Hard, Carl. Down off, right to the end. Yep, hard. Hard go. Whoa. Good spot. Nice.
Taylor trying to get that center guard on to protect the rock in the top of the 12-foot. See that under curls slightly.
Board.
I don't really think we want to roll because it takes away our run.
Yeah. Let's be ready here.
Matt Hamilton ready for his next.
Solid. Easy. Whoa. Close, though. Close. Solid.
We'll see how aggressive Team USA is here in this opening end.
Hard.
latest on the way from Hamilton.
Sweet.
Just managed to get that by the center guard.
And snap pretty hard, huh?
Yeah. That was just shy of control, probably, huh?
You can see like right here.
See the U.S. still with the gold-tipped brooms for the second consecutive season, working with their gold medal status from Pyeongchang. Stuart Taylor now, the third for the Scots play.
Taylor trying to follow Matt Hamilton through this hole with the in-turn. Makes contact, but not able to hold the shooter.
You like coming through the hole and
Another look at what the Scots were trying to attempt.
One thrown with just a little bit more weight than the one previous delivered by Matt Hamilton, so it didn't curl as much as they would have liked.
Do you want to take a touch more? Because we want to hit the
Can I see
inside.
like an inch more? Sure.
Here's Chris Plies, year 2 at position 3 for him with Team Schuster. Not with this group during their Olympic gold medal run in Pyeongchang. Stepped in for Tyler George after Tyler stepped away from top flight U.S. curling.
Go hard.
Yep. It's okay, Chris.
Clipping that one yellow U.S. rock in front of the house. Everybody on this team in agreement. Plies was, Pete, maybe the perfect fit to replace Tyler George with Schuster's team.
Yeah, as it turns out, he's been a perfect fit at third, as far as I can tell. He really is good at doing his job. He supports John, and obviously plays the game at a high percentage.
Scotland's third, Stuart Taylor, 25 years of age. Has a background in mechanical engineering.
Top 8. Top 12.
Go for weight then, drag it, yep. All you can.
Keep her going.
You got it, yep, hard.
Keep her going, Al. Keep her going.
You got it, Al, hard.
Hard. Hard, Al. Keep
Inside the L, inside the L.
Big scrub here by the Scottish front end, trying to get this rock under cover.
Nice, dude.
Over.
Would have liked to get that to the top of the forefoot, just to take away this short run.
Board. You can ever get a big roll here, it'd be good. You could almost throw control if you wanted. Or you like board better?
I like good board.
Okay. They've really been going, but
just roll it as far as you possibly can.
yeah.
John Schuster, for one, super pleased with the play of Chris Plies last year. Said he's been better than I hoped for, made a ton of shots, worked really, really hard, become a professional third, such a positive presence for this team. Chris even last year talked about how challenging it was to step into a team that's reached the highest of highs, but it has worked out
Sorry, Chris.
Good throw, Chris.
pretty well for all
I just heard
considered.
down and they were snapping so much. Sorry. It ended up
Yeah, I think one thing that's really helped in that transition is the history that Chris has with Matt. They played in juniors
Man, like,
at
early
a high
man, they were
level,
just, like,
and
going
he's
off
also
the wall.
competed in some pretty top-level
And then I
events
heard down.
with John Schuster, one being the Olympics, one being the World University
Oh,
Games
there.
as well.
Chris said he watched the gold medal game from the last Olympics at home with some friends. Remembers sending some encouraging words to the guys on Team Schuster beforehand. Now he gets to give encouraging words to these guys in person.
Again, yeah, back four's better than short, obviously.
As we look at Luke Carson with the game clocks running for both teams. Set amount of time to play all of their shots in this 8-end game.
Heard the conversation there between Carson and the front end. They want to get this rock buried, even if it's a little deep. If they slip it behind the tee line, that's okay, as long as they get it buried behind those two center guards.
Go on it. It's going now. Here it goes. Finish it out.
Back 4.
Okay.
Yeah, hard.
Just trying to get this
Yep.
under cover and force Schuster to follow them in here.
That's all right. Like that.
Don't mind that. No, Elish. Yeah, that's all right.
Count of 2 currently with those red rocks in a scoring position right now for Scotland.
Not well.
I don't
Don't
mind
mind
either.
I don't mind it either.
Like
I mean,
95
Forrest,
or
2 feet short is perfect, but you could have like zone 3 or
13.8.
Schuster going to school now on that
Hey, if every touch is
shot just delivered.
force them against 3.
Should know exactly how much it's going to curl. Just trying to get this in to the
I don't think I
4 foot
need
for
to go
shot
crazy
rock and leave it
throwing it
above
like
that
maybe
red stone.
No.
95.
John Schuster, 4-time Olympian, 7-time U.S. national champion, and Olympic gold medalist with that stirring run, 5 straight victories in Pyeongchang en route to gold.
Line's getting better. Stay close. Matt, stay close.
Stay close, Maddie. Yep, Matt. Right to it. Yep.
Gotta go. Hang on, Rock. Oy, oy, oy. My goodness. Good.
Pretty well handled there. You see that really curling a ton at the end.
That line came
Managed to
apart.
get shot rock. Pretty well handled by Team USA. See here, Chris Plies has Matt Hamilton sweeping it for line to get it by that yellow one.
Yep, I think edge of 12 pretty much.
Big finish,
You like that?
but still sits shot rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just cap it. Yeah.
05 in your last.
Down the last rock for each of these teams.
It's not been down this side as much.
Yeah, true. This would be a more used fast. So.
Yeah, you want to put it on the tee.
St. Paul's pretty good.
Okay.
Hear them talking about putting this on the tee.
Trying to get shot rock here, just using that stone just delivered by John Schuster as backing.
Race close. Drop button.
Have to navigate
T-line.
Nice share.
this corner guard,
Close out. Yep. Out. Out.
It's okay.
and then they have to get it by the center guard as well.
Hard line. Top button. Top button.
You gotta go.
This one really curling.
Whoa.
Any bounce.
Okay.
Not able to get it by that U.S. stone, so now
Is the second a bit more there?
should be a shot of some sort for 2 for Schuster.
We just gotta try to get it.
Could probably just draw to where he
They
did.
moved that over, I guess.
He knows the
I
line.
mean, we could just tap this too, I guess. That's probably easier than coming around it.
To me, looks easier.
Why don't you give me an inch less?
If we
That we
had
just
another
had?
inch,
Maybe
I would
2?
say
Yeah.
throw that double all day.
He's gonna
which-
play the tap.
Yeah. If you had another inch of it, I'd say you could go for it, but
So they're just
I don't
looking
even
for
think
something
it's
they
their
know here. You
favorite.
can see that yellow stone's been moved now. It's
Three, right?
probably half
It's only for
exposed,
2,
so
this is easier.
No, it's for 3.
Well, yeah.
they've
Yeah,
elected
right
to
now
just
it's fine.
tap it into the 4 foot for a pair.
All right, so what was that last one?
I had 85, and that was just natural T
Okay.
pitch.
All right, we'll try 37. We're gonna be a tighter line. Might be a little quicker. Maybe.
All the discussion and intel is there for John Schuster.
Same way.
Let's see about the shot execution. U.S.
line.
looking for 2 in this opening end.
Steiner,
John trying to throw a similar weight here as he did on his first one.
Steiner, go ahead. It's anybody, it's Steiner. Go ahead, Lance. Lance.
Matt.
Matt.
Here it is.
Well played there by Team USA.
The tap for 2. And the United States on top
Nice deuce there,
against
skipper.
Scotland as we're off and rolling for another season
SD.
of NBCSN Curling Night in America. Matt Hamilton making some friends in the crowd, always a fan favorite.
You guys are in the sweat zone. It's like Shamu. If I started going like this, you guys are in trouble.
Matt wears a lot of hats for this
Yeah.
team. Style icon, comic relief, all in addition to being a fabulous curling tactician. What's Matt's role in this team? Well, let's hear it from the man himself.
It's one of those things I've always wanted to grow my hair out. I'm married and old now, so I figured I can get away with it. So it's just kind of a little fun experiment. We'll see. It's probably just going to grow it until I'm bored with it. But for now, I like it. So the mustache at first was like just kind of a funny thing. It was almost like I get to change my personality and be that player that my team needs, but it's also a persona that works pretty well with the crowd and the fan base. So it's almost like a reminder to be that Matt Hamilton curling guy as well as, you know, when you get off the ice, you know, change back into your normal civilian self.
Let's go here.
I like that.
So Matt always entertaining and
We
his
might be able to
team
rest a little
usually
here, but
effective
I think
together.
that'll curl all the way there anyways.
2-0 lead here with Rocks
be
in
okay
play
speed.
in the second.
85-90.
I'm thinking this, if anything, it might be a shade slower, so I like the favorite in the 85 side.
as Chris Plies gets set to play. Yeah, Matt's personality, Pete, also plays over for a lot of the shot selection for John Schuster. He kind of plays the devil's advocate role and really wants to make sure that Team USA kind of explores all their possibilities.
Yeah, he just serves as another set of eyes. Matt making sure that he points out what could happen and what is his opinion for sure.
2.5 is great. Boy, Chris. Perfect.
Well managed there by Team USA. Chris Plies just throwing one into the forefoot to kind of
You can, it's just
eliminate that corner guard a small amount.
Solid body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll definitely move? I just
keep it positive.
Here's Stuart Taylor, the third for skip Luke Carson.
Now by throwing that rock into the wide open on the side of the forefoot, Team USA makes it tougher for Scotland now to generate a deuce. Because if they go around that corner guard, they will be second shot.
Close.
Scotland now trying to hit and roll off this US stone on the side of the 12-foot and get buried under this corner guard.
Good throw.
Good attempt though. That one over curling. Should be exposed on the intern side.
That's all.
Yeah. So normal.
You got it all though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you like trying to just get with like board,
Out of control.
or do you want to go thin over the top and just roll it to this side somewhere?
I like nose.
You like nose, all right? Board.
That last one I threw last time was board, huh?
Just.
Team USA just weighing their options here. They could hit and roll partway under that corner guard and choke off the draw there for Scotland. Or they could hit a little thinner and roll towards the middle and lie two in the forefoot.
Yep. Whoa.
Soundboard.
Whoa.
Solid.
Whoa. Matt, go ahead. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt. Hard. Really got to go right to it. Right
Trying to
it,
get some of this buried.
Good.
Hey, boy, Chris. Shot.
Success for Chris Plies.
Yeah.
And a slight nod of approval.
See a steeper roll. Don't mind body.
Okay. Body.
Yep. Same throws.
Scotland now throwing this hit and roll to the middle, trying to roll over in front of that US stone and just make their own rock difficult for John Schuster to remove.
Face good. Body.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Hard. Body.
Hard out.
Whoa. Yep.
Yep. You gotta go.
Whoa. Mark.
Okay. Look.
So yeah.
Not quite able to hold it with
Good throw.
sweeping.
Just stay on.
Yeah, I think I could throw probably control from there because like that's board. So.
Team USA looking pretty good here for the force. John's got a wide open hit with the intern. Still playing this somewhere around the nose.
Control or?
Yeah, control.
Okay.
Could roll halfway under the corner guard and still choke off that draw.
Because you get that corner as well. Yeah. Short run for him. If he doesn't stick it, you get a blank maybe.
Scotland hoping for a blank.
Whoa.
We'll see about Schuster's first here in N2.
Go ahead, Matty.
Hard, Matty.
Come on, bud.
Hard, right to it.
Hard, Matt.
Right to it. Watch the roll now. Big, probably big.
No.
Yeah, sorry, fellas.
Okay.
And overthrown just a little bit by John. Doesn't curl as much as they would like.
Nothing wrong with that.
There kind of is, though. Brutal.
So wherever you're happiest to make the roll, because if you make the roll, the double goes.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter about that.
You see,
Normal, yeah.
with that roll now, those
So I see
two
what
yellow
the-
stones
this
are
one?
bunched
Out
up
down, yeah.
close together,
You want there?
leaving a double for
yeah.
Scotland. They throw it hard. They might be able to roll the shooter under that corner guard.
I think normal and out turn make the roll as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like still got a chance to make it. Yeah, it's
I think if you make the double, you're making a pretty close roll. Yeah. So
Here the Scots
I think it should move on this line.
discussing things in the hack as Schuster and Plies look on. They'll still have another rock to influence things here in the second.
Normal.
Close.
The other option here for Scotland is to make this double and leave the shooter exposed and maybe get away with a blank here in this end. Well played by Scotland. See, they roll that shooter all the way across the house under that corner guard.
We kind of were going, I mean, from here, but that seems like a lot.
Okay.
So taking out the 2 U.S. yellow rocks, leaving their red one in place, keeping those thoughts of maybe blanking this end and holding on to the hammer to the third alive.
See, they roll this right to the tee line. Although it's buried, John Schuster will have a chance to throw the freeze and force Scotland to draw for one.
We acknowledge. No, just off coming down.
It is.
I mean, I'm still probably drawing full 8 for one.
95.
Right up. Easy, 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 easy.
In-turn release for Schuster.
Top 4.
Try to see if he can have the right touch and lock this rock on the red Scottish rock.
And for Hamilton and Landsteiner, they want to make sure they judge this properly.
Probably is, Lance.
Don't want to bounce off this red rock.
Okay, John.
Little bounce there.
Sorry about that. He'll jump to her touch.
That's good.
I honestly wasn't sure where it was going.
Got it hot.
The line was pretty good if they don't move that red rock.
So long as you're,
First precision
so long as you at least know. Like even if you do
Carson
stuff
might have a
it,
tap
then
out for a
it's still
pair
one.
here.
Yeah, I mean, make that.
Yeah.
I think I like hack.
Okay.
Like that at hack?
Yep.
Yeah, it's minimum.
You think that's minimum?
You think it's minimum? I think it's close.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close.
I don't mind the hair more if you like a bit more. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
So as Luke Carson
I throw hack
slides
at it.
back,
Yeah.
It's moving so much that.
showed you Matt Hamilton and his flair with his footwear.
If you hit a half
Notice
hack, you just roll
Luke
it the same
Carson's
line
kind of split the difference. He's got one bright colored shoe and one traditional
Yeah, I think it's
shoe.
minimum, but
See
pretty
if
close.
he can work together to help the Scots get what they desire here in this second end.
Hey, right here, Hall. Here, Hall.
Whoa, close. Mark.
They need this to curl all the way up to the nose of that U.S. stone.
Hard!
Hard, Mark. You gotta go. You gotta go. Hard.
Okay.
Chop. Good, Luke.
Yeah, possibly just overthrown a little bit.
Well, thinking maybe 2, instead it'll just be 1. The U.S. does force the Scots. The Americans get the hammer back when we return in the third in Raleigh.
Good end, though.
They probably just take more ice and put in a bit less weight, so I was paranoid that ice were going in the corner. Line should be nice.
U.S. on top of Scotland, 2-1. Opener, new season, NBCSN Curling Night in America. From Raleigh, North Carolina, Jason Knapp alongside 8-time U.S. national champ, Olympic bronze medalist Pete Fenson.
Yeah, Mark, gotta go hard.
The Americans have the hammer back here. Scotland only able to get 1 in the previous end. John Schuster and his American team hoping to set the table for another productive end. You look at John Landsteiner gliding out of the hack.
Where? I feel like it's top 4 right now.
With one of his first 2 from the lead position.
Yeah, it's really curling too.
Landsteiner going around this center guard and would like to keep this rock nice and high in the house, maybe just top of the 8 foot.
I think it's going to get there enough.
Sit.
Oh, wait, Steiner, nice start, bud.
Okay, bud.
Again, from this view, you can see where we are in Raleigh,
Good start.
Polar Iceplex. It's the practice home of the Carolina Hurricanes, past Stanley Cup champions in the National Hockey League, and serving as terrific hosts here for this season of NBCSN Curling Night in America. But Pete, it's a little different ice than we would see the hockey players skating and practicing on. They bring these sheets in and build them on top.
Yeah, that's a great observation. I always say that curling ice is to golf like the green. And hockey ice, with all due respect, is a little bit more like maybe the first cut of rough. It doesn't have to be quite as perfect.
Backside of tee.
They have ice techs that are professionals that come in and put this curling ice in. Make it perfectly flat. They give it lots of swing, as we see here. Lots of movement on these rocks. Allows these players to make fantastic shots such as this one.
Able to see the pebble that's laid on the ice that allows the pieces of granite, 42 pounds, to slide down there and work to their desired targets from where the players are trying to throw them. That one sliding to the edge of the 12-foot. Again, count of 1 currently for Team USA. That yellow rock closest to the center than the nearest red one of Scotland.
T-line. T-back 4. Okay.
10 then. Yeah, I'll do 20 both times. Okay.
So because of all the curl in the ice here, Scotland is now playing this out-turn draw around shot stone into the back of the 4-foot. I think they can get it all the way buried.
What's the room?
We're back 8. Yeah, almost back 12.
No.
It's grinding.
Yup.
Ah.
Hard. Hard, sir. Keep it going. Yup.
That one really stopped.
Whoa.
Caught the sweepers by surprise. That might have actually hit a little piece of debris in the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, not a disaster that did. Okay.
It's picking our rock, but it's not stuffing it. Not a great lineup for him. I mean, we can come in here if you want.
Like all the way around it.
Do you like that?
What else are you thinking?
Could you ever play
We can just play this too.
The peel on the guard, yeah, doesn't.
Just straight peel. Okay.
You like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably just.
I like this map.
So with
What?
things not looking real good here for
I think
Team
their second
USA,
rock took away their straight run, so
taking
they're
into
gonna
consideration they
to
have a
deal with
1-point lead and the hammer. They're going to open up the front here, peel this center guard.
See if Matt Hamilton can achieve that and clear some space.
Shoot. Sorry, John.
It's okay.
Doesn't seem to be
Well, that's not a good start.
super enthralled with that result.
And
What a
not his
terrible
best
slide.
throw.
Sorry about that.
I should have put the broom like on the rock. What is this straight?
Those are okay.
Yeah, most important things to hang around.
Right.
One counter in the house for Scotland.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
You still got a shot left, don't you?
Mark Taylor coming up.
Scotland has a chance here. They could go around this center guard and try and put a little pressure on Team USA, but they've elected to just kill this rock in the open.
Okay.
Trying to force Team USA to 1 by lying 2 there.
Probably
Shooter not staying around.
between half and 2/3.
Probably about the same slide, huh?
Yeah, something like that. This one should move a little bit though, Matt.
Okay.
Yep.
Hard.
There is the slide for Matt Hamilton.
Hard, Lance.
That's trying to make this double on the 2 reds.
Whoa. Make the other way. All right, get out.
Okay.
It's fine.
And the double is delivered. Matt Hamilton with a nice one. And the Americans in front by 1 in the 3rd.
Hero.
Final stages, 3rd end. U.S. in front 2-1 with hammer again. Stuart Taylor, the 3rd for Scotland, with the latest throw.
And you can go, yep. Whoa.
Taylor now trying to remove this American stone.
Whoa. Mark.
Love to roll under cover.
Oh, easy. Oh. Oh, good. Nice.
Sorry, I thought you were just going to send that one down the hill. I thought it was just going to go right down the hill.
Well, no coverage there. John Schuster and Team USA eyeing up that red rock. And that duty will fall to Chris Plies.
Touch more.
Lean. Whoa. Close, so stay close,
Chris
Matt,
now
too.
attempting to do the same.
Close, Matt. A little bit.
Like the hit and roll under cover.
Easy. Lance. Whoa. Attaboy, Chris. Beauty.
A little better weight control. Chris Plies throwing that one a little bit softer than Taylor. got the curl they were looking for.
Yeah, nudge it. You got any of it? An inch. An inch? Yeah. Probably got the chase on it, hack. Yeah, like that.
Well, you've got an inch. What can you do with an inch
I think easily kill it.
of vision of that rock, Pete?
Unless you prefer capping it. Do you like that
Well, with
better?
all the curl in the ice here, and as long as that guard is, they should be able to come down and tap this rock out of the rings. Throw it nice and soft. Allow the rock to finish.
I think easily kill it.
Yeah, I mean, you could be a foot by the guard.
In a situation like this, the thrower just has to trust that this rock will turn over and curl in there.
It'll come hooring over.
Yeah.
What did I throw last time? It was like 60 or something. Probably.
There you see the target.
Pretty much barrier. Yeah.
Again, we're giving you a closer view. It may not look that enticing when you're well over 100 feet away, leaving the hack and trying to hit that sliver of a stone that's available, and that's the job here for Luke Carson.
Yeah, sometimes a shot like this visually is disturbing because you can't see any of it, but if you throw it properly, it is makeable.
Hard out, you gotta keep going, gotta keep going, gotta keep going. Go, Steve. Get it right. Go, 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 go.
Well, it's a delicate play and not able to remove that stone.
And maybe overthrown just a little bit again. Really a touch shot that has to be thrown softly, let the sweepers hold it. Even sweep it a little bit for distance to make sure you get the proper amount of curl.
Remember, this is a turn he tends to be a little tight on. Just be ready.
It's a new season, baby.
I know.
You be ready.
They're shot by like an inch.
Yeah.
It's control.
Okay. This truck should be pretty good in the morning.
Yeah,
So John Schuster talking
I don't
about
think it's going to go crazy. It's probably max.
Scotland has shot rock by an inch for the moment, and now he'll look to take care of that.
Control.
John just playing a nose hit here, wants to leave this rock on the rings till lie 2.
Whoa.
Keep the deuce alive.
Diner. No. Clean. Clean. Matt. Yep.
Weight's good.
Hard. Right to it.
Hard, Maddie.
Attaboy. That works.
Right about here, it decided it was going to curl.
Shoot.
That's pretty
Worth to go, isn't it?
U.S. lying 2.
Even if we just roll here if we're thick.
Yeah.
Inton.
Yeah.
Inton peel there.
Yep.
Try and get them moving.
Scotland thinks they can make
Gotta be
this
an absolute
double.
bomb, but it might be
Throw
there.
it pretty hard. Peel weight. It's coming down the
might do
sheet.
Anything.
Absolute ball.
Like I thought they were going to be close
Yeah.
to staying, and it went flying out. So that's why I didn't expect that to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Control.
I was with you.
So the U.S. preparing for their final throw. See what Luke Carson has to say with his last here at N3.
Mark. Hard, Mark.
Got to get slightly inside the nose.
Yep. Good effort.
Right.
Tough shot. That was so flat.
It's probably only a centimeter away.
Knocked out the U.S. rock, but not able to get it under cover. So John Schuster should have a pretty routine open hit for 2.
And there's his look. It's just a in-turn, wide open.
Just make sure you get a broom down on this kind of thing kind of early, making sure it doesn't go nuts early.
Yep,
Snyder.
10-3.
The last one? Okay.
Again, the American skip spending a bunch of his past off season out there fishing with his kids who have really gotten engaged in his sport and that sport. And right now, looking to reel in a pair for Team USA.
Hard.
Good scrub.
Good sweeping.
The United States has hooked the deuce, and the lead is stretched out to 4-1 through 3 in Raleigh.
I turned it in a little bit on you guys. I'm like, that's like the dumbest thing in the world.
The swing turns.
Yes.
Seen that before.
4 of the 5 points scored so far belong to John Schuster and the United States here on NBCSN Curling Night in America. John Landsteiner leading off for Team USA. See what Scotland can do. With hammer for the second time, the U.S. has thrown up deuces each time it's had the last shot advantage.
Hey, kid.
Do you have any like power bars?
Landsteiner right on the button.
All right, 20.
Alistair Schreiber, 26-year-old from
25.
Glasgow,
We're-
says he's
we're all there.
been studying the law, but says he loves curling too much to get a real job.
Never mark.
I don't want to. Just short. Don't want to.
The ice seems like it's more enjoyable maybe than the courtroom.
Sit. Sit.
Oh, just a little heavy there, that rock slipping into the rings.
Throw normal or control?
Now allowing Landsteiner to remove it.
Normal. Control is good.
Control? Okay.
Yeah, same thing I used to.
Yeah.
John Landsteiner and his wife Kelsey had a new addition to the family. It's a yellow lab Winnie. Been enjoying time watching Winnie get bigger and bigger.
Chris, if anything.
Oh, Chris, go ahead.
Chris.
Go ahead, Chris. Roll it on there, Matt. Roll it. All right. Out of the way.
Landsteiner able to
9-9.
get that rock to sit right there at the top of the house. U.S. lying 2.
Actually trying to roll that a little closer to the center line, but they got it on the rings, which was their primary goal. Remove the opposition's rock and roll onto the paint.
Stay. 3. Oh, easy then.
Yeah, we're still tight. 3. It's curling now.
Easy.
Waist good. You're about 6 feet short. Just line.
Just do a wee bit maybe. Yep. Oh, you're good there. You're good there. Nice.
Drop.
You guys like doing anything like this?
So a little guard laid out in
Just to
front
push out
for
from
Team
being a double
Scotland.
Double corner.
John Schuster
I'm just worried we're giving him an opportunity.
thinking about what's to come. Of course, there are other games going on in this draw on the other sheets here in Raleigh, including Sarah Anderson and Corey Dropkin, 2-time U.S. national champs in mixed doubles, playing Italy here in their opening game. Corey watching that one go in. The Americans with a chance maybe for a huge end. It is good enough for 2 yellow counters. That levels the score against Italy at 3-3 at the break of their 8-end affair. See more of Anderson and Dropkin as our featured game in our next episode of NBCSN Curling Night in America. But our featured game tonight, John Schuster and the U.S. men. We'll get back to that one in a moment.
I think it's just a little roll here.
Yeah.
Fairly
You got a
crowded
little
house
space too, right?
here in N4. Scotland has hammer.
Or would you rather throw a little harder?
I was thinking less.
Throw board of that. Or hack.
John
Hacker
Schuster and
board.
his team figuring
Big
out
board's
what
good.
to do with the next coming from Chris Plies.
That look like enough to you boys?
Yeah, I think this turns a touch straighter.
Just trying to get the weight right for this roll.
Chris Plies,
Weight's good.
sensational junior curler, 4 straight U.S. junior national titles, also
Matt, go ahead.
junior
still
world
good.
champ with Matt
Easy
Hamilton.
now. Lance,
Alternate
Lance.
U.S. Olympic team in Vancouver. Saw some action there with Team Schuster. Now second year as a full-time member of this team.
Sorry, Matt.
Knocked out the 1 rock, but not able to hold the shooter where they had hoped, Pete.
Sorry, Chris.
Pretty sure they set 3.
With that one over curling and rolling as far as it did now, creating a pocket.
Sorry, my bad.
Scotland has a
Stay
chance to get the
right
draw around the corner guard and use those yellow rocks as backing.
Are we talking 20 or 15?
15, I think.
A lot less.
Couple feet off.
Carson's got the broom laid for Stuart Taylor. And here in the 4th, down 3. Seems like a critical set of shots here for the Scots. They want to start to rally back against the Americans.
Yeah, definitely, and they have some opportunity here with this rock short of the rings and those American stones behind the tee line.
Keep going.
They get this one in there into the top of the 4-foot nicely.
Hard. Keep going.
Like push.
Keep going. Keep going.
Whoa.
A bad spot.
Good there.
Don't mind that.
Yeah, awful.
I don't mind that.
Maybe overswept a little bit for distance.
It's hard to get, you know what I mean? Because it's going to hit it. It should go back, but it might go pop in this out of here.
By getting this all the way to the tee line now.
No, because I think this.
They do leave Schuster.
It's hard to catch this, just this one though. You know what I mean?
A little bit
it's hard to catch.
more room for
it's gonna
error.
rub this. I think we have to throw it here, but it's just going to be. It is what it is, I guess. I had you middle.
What did you have on my long?
I had actually like 14-1, I think, or 14-2.
I had 15-1 on their last one.
14-8.
Pete, for the curling newcomers following us this season, all those numbers being talked about, the 14s and 15s, the split times that the players are tracking.
Yeah, that's just a number, in this case, that Team Schuster is using when the rock runs from one hogline to the other so that they can get a gauge on the speed and the amount of glide for weight judgment.
So from that blue line to the other,
Line's fine. Line's okay.
at the following sheet,
Lance, yeah. T-line. Yep, line. Hard line. Hard.
and when it crosses that second line, by looking at their stopwatch, they get an idea of where it should end up.
Okay. Good.
And that didn't end up where they had hoped.
Maybe a little light, therefore that rock over curling a little bit. They couldn't hold it with sweeping. Doesn't end up all that bad for Team USA.
On the other draw, I threw that in the first end.
It guards that shot rock that's now in the back of the forefoot.
But I made the freeze of my last one in the second end, right?
Yeah.
John talking about how that last rock he threw may curl a little bit more than the other one he has as his two.
Finish it.
Yep.
Even though these rocks are all made to Olympic spec, the same weight, the same size, sometimes they do react a little differently to the ice. So the players are constantly monitoring that and talking about it and making notes.
And it's not like a golf ball that you don't like. You can't just throw it out.
You can't, but you can move it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll see them move a rock in the lineup. A lot of times in this case, Land Center gets to deal with the discards. So he has to manage the personalities of the rocks.
Yeah, the leads sometimes certainly don't get rock choice.
T-line's good.
They get the bad behaving ones of the litter. Skips usually get the best, the pick. See what Luke Carson has picked here on this shot.
Oh, wait, sorry, off it. Yeah. Can you bounce it? Bounce it?
Yep, bounce it.
Get a little farther out. Different track, and it's a little bit slower there. That rock comes up quite short.
Count of 1 yellow right now for the U.S. in the house, with 1 rock left for each team.
So sometimes when the ice sits, as this has, Carson had to go further out into the 12-foot to try and get around that guard. Ice was a little tighter, a little slower.
He wasn't out to the full draw, and he wasn't on that 4-foot path.
Just got to make sure we touch 4.
I mean, I had 15-6 on there. Yeah. So, was that last weight fine or what?
I felt like it was here.
Schuster trying to get as much information as he can as he goes to play the last for the United States here, the last end before our mid-game break.
It's important in a situation like this. Well, throughout the course of every game, the teams and primarily the front ends are monitoring all the tracks and the sheets. That's what they're doing with those stopwatches, so that when their teammates come down to throw, they have some good information for speed.
Line's not good yet.
Can you go back here?
No, it's fine. It's okay right next to it too, I guess.
Okay. That's a good spot. That's fine, John.
Not too heavy. It's fine.
John aiming top button there. That one just a couple of feet heavy.
Well, what are you hitting it with?
U.S. now is lying 2.
Anton Hack weight. Yeah, this year, that's just going straight there. It's never rolling up, is it?
Not sure there's a chance for more than 1 here for Scotland.
It's not enough.
No, you'd have to hit it with a bit of like a normal.
Peel pretty much.
Yeah.
Not got any of that yellow, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, just come on it.
I think it is there to.
Here more.
Are we tapping it or are we? No, let's try.
Carson now forced to just follow John Schuster with the in-turn and draw the button for
hit
one.
the yellow like normal, there's a shot for two, but on account of it being fully buried, that makes it difficult.
Yeah. 14 on theirs.
Yeah.
It's a different track, I guess.
What was my first one anyway?
Yeah, I got 316, so.
It probably ran all right then.
Yeah.
It just.
Luke Carson would love to make something happen from that pile, but realizing the best option is just to take his medicine and take one if he can execute.
It's close. See line. Keep your head up. Plenty room. Room. It's not moved. It's not moved at all.
Not curling. Oftentimes means it's heavy.
And the sweepers not sweeping, and that is way deep and off target, and the U.S. will fortify its advantage. A steal of two,
It's hard to make that adjustment.
and the U.S. is cruising 6-1 at the break.
What's that throw? Exactly what I was trying to throw.
Welcome back to NBCSN Curling Night in America from Raleigh, North Carolina, presented by the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA. In our featured game, the American men faring pretty well against Scotland. The other scores from this latest draw, the United States in mixed doubles tied with Italy at 3 apiece. Scotland on top of Japan 6-2. And the other men's game from this session with the Italians leading the Japanese 2-1. Jason Knapp, Pete Fenson, a look back at what's gone on so far for Team Schuster, the Americans with hammer and using it in the first.
John makes a nice tap into the forefoot for a pair.
Scotland, Pete, had a chance to match in the second.
Soft little tap out here for two. This one overthrown just a bit and doesn't curl enough.
Only a single point. The Americans get the hammer back in the third, and John Schuster with a wide open hit. He's not going to miss these.
So wide open in turn for two.
Good.
That made it 4-1, with the problems magnified for Scotland trying to settle for one, and they couldn't execute.
Had to make a good draw to the button here for one. This one also overthrown.
So Scotland trailing by 5. John Schuster standing by to chat with Tannen.
It's hard to make that adjustment.
All right, John, off to a good start in the first half. How satisfied were you with your team's ability to read that ice and get into a rhythm quickly in that match?
It's always good when you have the first game you play at an event. What you want to do is come out here and figure out how you're going to make some shots, and we made some early and had really good communication as far as what the ice is giving us, and I think that's where our team really excels, and it's showing on the scoreboard so far.
Now, we were listening in to some of the conversations you were having, some apologies being tossed around. Obviously, that communication's been honed now at this point in your career with this team. Looking ahead to the second half, what do you hope to see more of to lock up a win?
We just got to keep on doing exactly what we're doing, and that's, sometimes when you can get bigger leads, you have to play a little more defense. But as long as we can keep our communication up and not sit too much on the lead and stay a little bit offensive when we see those opportunities, we close the game out here.
All right, John, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanith. Taking advantage of opportunities. That's something John Schuster and company have done pretty well in recent years, but as we found out, the reigning Olympic gold medalists are not satisfied to rest on their considerable laurels. Their focus now is to see just how far they can ride their wave of success.
Can he get it? He can! 5 on the board for Team USA.
It wasn't too hard to get back to normal. We tried not to let, winning, try to change any of us, because, deep down we all just really enjoyed the fact that we were, 4 guys from, northern Minnesota and in central Wisconsin that, got a chance to win a gold medal for your country and do some really fun things.
It was one of those things, we didn't really know what to expect, but going into that season last year, we really felt like we had targets on our backs, being the defending Olympic gold medalists. Everyone kind of wants a piece of you. So we were able to adjust a little bit last year and still kind of feel like we're playing with that same target on our back this year. So it's motivating, but at the same time, we know we got to bring our A game against everybody and can't take anyone for granted.
One change for this Schuster squad. Tyler George stepping away for a while from competitive curling. Chris Plies jumps in to fill the role in the third position.
Yeah, a new third, a new vice for John Schuster and his squad, but they do have a little bit of history with Chris.
You know, I think Chris's attitude, you know, just outlook on life is so refreshing to have around. He's a guy who isn't afraid to throw any shot that you ever put in front of him, and last year I think helped, you know, bring a level of fun, but a level of professionalism to the ice.
Chris has been one of my best friends for over a decade now, so having a guy like that on your team adds like a extra comfort level. Huge asset, fun to play with, and even better to have out on the ice and on the road with.
Can you talk a little bit about the chemistry of being part of this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been exceeded my expectations to begin with. And we're all doing our jobs out there and having fun. You know, I think this team could do a lot of cool things.
You know, we put together a good performance, you know, at the Worlds last year. And, yeah, and we added a World Cup win, you know, to our team's resume too. So we had some major highs last year, but obviously there's still some work left to be done.
I love that you have the dice right there too. Yes.
John Schuster and his team loose, and again getting more and more comfortable with that mantle as Olympic gold medalist. Starting things off in the fifth, John Landsteiner with the lead. Chris Plies was the new addition last year for this team at second. There is a new piece of the equation for Team Schuster this year. It's a new coach. Sean Baton recently retired from playing, replacing Don Bartlett,
Shot, Steiner.
who was with Team Schuster last year. Schuster saying the other three guys knew Baton a little bit better than he did, but likes his curling knowledge, his hunger. So we'll see how that transpires for Team Schuster as this tournament and the season continue to unfold.
I think we're two. Make sure it doesn't set. No, we don't want it. There it goes, there it goes. Just line. Really moving. Line's fine, marks.
With half a game behind them now, Scotland really has to try and get something going here with this corner guard.
We'll see what they got going when we come back. (6-1) the lead for John Schuster's team here in N5. Scotland trying to rally back with hammer. The other American team involved in this draw, Corey Dropkin, Sarah Anderson, the mixed doubles pairing for the United States, taking on Simone Gonin and Veronica Zapponi of Italy. The Italians down one here in the sixth and able to just salvage one. So it's 4 apiece with 2 ends left in mixed doubles.
I mean, if you pick it clean, it doesn't, but if it touches it at all, it's for sure jam. I think we just go like this then.
Yeah. Okay.
Back in our featured game.
Like board, honestly. Get this one all the way out. Board.
Yeah. The 150-foot discussion rolls on here for John Schuster and the rest of his American team. Chris Plies, 84% at the halfway point shooting-wise in this game.
Solid. Lancer.
Good start to the game for Chris.
Go ahead. Okay, easy. Yep, keep going, keep going.
Right up to the nose here. Want to kill that back Yellowstone.
All right, okay.
Really wasn't helping Team USA at all.
I didn't hear anything. But John, did you call it out of his hand, or is that just me?
I did. No, I called it.
You did?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, Jank. Crazy. I'm going crazy. Just on the nose of it, or a hair right inside, right? Yeah. Back line. Back line you want? Do you want to completely get rid of it? No, I don't think so. I can't put it here, line that up. Yep, okay. Yeah, back line's good. Yep. You like that?
Pete, you're down 5, and we're playing an 8-end game. What's a reasonable number for Scotland to try to achieve here, the way things look now in this end?
Well, it's always necessary to score 2 with the hammer. That's always your goal. But in this case, trailing 6-1, I'd like to see Scotland really try and get some rocks in play here and try and score more than 2 to help get them close the gap a little bit and get themselves a little closer to Team USA.
Yep.
So trying to get to the inside of the nose of this rock, just delivered by Chris Plies, and maybe roll slightly towards the center line.
You gotta go! Never off.
Go, 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 go. Good. Okay.
That's all right.
See, they tapped that Yellowstone
Moved them
far
miles.
enough
Is it just that light or?
to become third shot in the back of the 4 foot. So now first and third for Scotland.
This way is this ever? Yeah, I could just smash this anywhere high, right?
Yeah.
You guys like that anywhere high smash?
I kind of like the draw.
No, the only problem is if I don't make this thing in perfect here, it really opens it. I've hit this anywhere high and they're never scoring more than 2. And I make it perfect, like they're still gonna have a.
Okay.
I think you're right. Let's peel. Just gotta make sure I hit it right. Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing is if I dead stick it, they're frozen on our pocket. Or is it gonna pick our yellow out the side?
The yellow should go.
Okay. Thinner the better though, right? Like quarter rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heard John say in his interview at the break with Tanith, with this lead, you want to be defensive, try to make the most of opportunities when they present themselves, but clearly playing the scoreboard here.
Yeah, this is definitely a little damage control for Team USA. John selecting the easier or simpler of the 2 options here. He's trying to eliminate these 2 Scottish stones with peel weight.
Hard. Right to it. Right to it. Right to it. Good.
Ah. Tick thinner. Good scrub.
Not too bad.
Close.
Kill 1.
Yeah.
Team USA is shot rock in the back of the button currently.
You can easily get to the
inside.
Had to hit that first yellow a fair amount thinner to make the double. If it's even possible, I'm not sure. Had to move that one a long ways.
Yeah. Just got the back one first.
Okay.
Otherwise, he's blasting the pair, isn't he?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
So you want to be in this hole here?
I think so. Covering the pin, ideally.
Yep. Okay.
He might just weld you, but.
So why should you give me?
So a tough
It was
bid
there,
for
wasn't
more
it?
than 2 here for Scotland.
First one, yeah.
Okay.
And you probably want middle of 12,
See that
to be honest.
Other
You
Red
want
Rock
that?
kicked into the
Think
open
so,
now.
yeah. Maybe an inch less. Yeah. I get right across the face almost. Get right across the face of the yellow.
Yeah.
Like 6-inch bump's perfect, I think. Not even.
Luke Carson going to throw the out turn draw.
What weight do you think then? What was Stu's?
See, they have to get half a rock into the button to be shot rock.
Too much ice?
You probably want the same ice as Stu.
Just give me the same as you, Stu. Just give me the same as you. So, yeah. 10 then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's make it.
Back 8.
Whoa then.
Line only just now.
Whoa.
Back 8. Almost back 12.
Easy.
Back 12. Back 8. Back
Whoa.
12.
Close.
Offense been hard to come by for the Scots.
Al. Line only. Hard, Al. You gotta go, Al. You gotta go. You gotta go. Hard.
Oh, boy.
Good.
Beauty.
And they like that.
Across the nose as they had drawn it out.
You know what I mean? I can throw anything from.
Managed to tap that U.S. stone out of the button in lie 2.
I mean, just half, honestly. Just gotta get. I could throw peel and hit on the nose if we wanted to, as long as we get to nose. So.
Yeah. Whatever you're most comfortable with.
I mean, we get to nose, it comes all the way out of here, but we have to get inside and cover a piece of that rock.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Do we ever
let's just throw
smash
board.
high side?
Board?
and hope to
Yeah,
get
I think
that?
the rock off the edge should be fine.
You give him 3.
Maybe a little
though,
tight
I mean,
even.
We're still up by 2.
Goal here for Schuster now is to make sure Scotland doesn't have any sort of a shot for 3.
Get to the nose is fine. Get a little bit inside nose, makes their deuce real tough. So.
Trying to get across the nose of that red rock that's sitting in the open and roll on top of the button. Really make the draw tough for 2.
John Schuster nearly flawless shooting in the opening 4 ends of the season opener of NBCSN Curling Night in America.
Come on, Lance.
See if he can hit the target with his last in the 5th.
Yep. Hard.
Shot, John.
Overcurled a little, but that's a pretty good result.
Good scrub.
Scotland lies 1.
I don't know why they called off there.
For here, do you think we get 2?
Team USA does have a little tiny piece of the button.
It's better be more.
There's room to make this in-turn draw for 2.
I think this is gonna go big time.
I'll move, yeah.
And I think it'll be slower than that side.
Yeah,
you're probably 05-10, really.
Yeah, I think 05-10.
And with it, with spinning.
Team USA had to continue sweeping that last
You're
rock
back one,
delivered
if your
by
line's good,
John
you're fine.
in order to
Okay.
just roll over on
Good
top of the
line on
button.
back one's okay, but if you're a tall high.
You happy with that,
Probably
Luke?
throwing 05-10.
Means you're thinking it's a hair slower down
It's
here.
definitely a hair slower.
What was my last one?
It can't hurt if it's spinning.
What was my last one?
I got 12 again. Yeah, okay.
Definitely hair more than
When
that.
Scotland's had the hammer previously in this game, in the second and the fourth, Luke Carson overthrowing a couple, limiting the scoring possibilities for his team. Can he dial this one to the right distance?
And one of the most important differences in the game so far is 2 misses on last rock
Here it goes, here it goes.
by Carson and 2 makes by Schuster.
Hard, boys. Keep it moving, keep it moving. Come on. Hard on it, hard.
Oh, boy. You can see it, boys.
With help from the front end, that one right in the pocket. A pair for Scotland, and they're hanging around against the Americans. The United States with the lead and with the hammer here, with rocks in play in the 6th end on NBCSN Curling Night in America. Scotland getting a deuce in the 5th to whittle down the American lead. Can they potentially steal points here in the 6th? Force the U.S. to just one? Try to continue their way back into this affair.
Okay, make sure you're over it, Mark, if you can.
We're over.
Mark then, yep, hard, yep.
Scotland throwing a second center guard here. Trying to give themselves some options.
Straight off, spine here too, Chris.
One yellow counter right now for the U.S., but the Americans more invested into opening things up than putting another in the house, and that'll be the duty here for Chris Plies with the peel.
Yeah, we are.
They go for Team USA to score here, so they want to
Double, bro.
Thanks, man.
give John something makeable.
The long double.
Did clip that other red rock and send it off the bumper, so that is out of play too. 2 for the price of 1 there for Plies. Next for Stuart Taylor.
One. Line's okay.
1, 2.
Where?
1, 2. Line's tighter than the last.
Line's okay.
Line's tighter.
Line's fine by itself.
It's good.
Alstone.
It doesn't need to curl. It doesn't need to curl.
Just over and up.
Just replacing that long guard.
Good, Stu. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Solid hack.
Okay.
That rock over curling slightly. You can see that red rock tight to the rings is about half open now, so Chris Plies is going to take a swing at it with about hack weight. Maybe try and roll the shooter onto the rings.
Whoa.
It's really soft.
Whoa.
Hack.
Matt.
Get a piece at least.
And missed the target. So the door open here for Scotland to apply some more pressure.
A little break for Scotland there.
You sweeping because of speed or what?
I don't know.
I never said yes.
Yeah.
And that thing was like solid board.
Yeah. I don't know about solid board.
It was. It literally came back like flying past the act. It was going to be like
yeah.
solid.
I don't think this side swings as much as that side.
Yeah.
That rock apparently
Oh, you're
overthrown
welcome
a little
this way.
bit.
Yeah.
I guess we'll move.
Coming down the sheet a little faster than John Schuster had iced for, so it under curls.
Yeah,
I think you could even do.
So Chris Plies will file some of that information away for his next set of shots in the next end, as Scotland gets ready to play here again, trying to make things even more challenging for the U.S., which has hammer here in the 6th.
Good opportunity now for Luke Carson to get this out turn around those double centers.
Top 4, yeah, line. Top 4. Hard, yeah, line. Find the weight. You gotta go line! Top 14! You gotta go line! Top 14!
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Ow, ow, ow! Whoa.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
It's not awful.
Jump.
Maybe a little light. That line's not close there.
Here further, we're gonna start losing speed.
Is that better nose than this one right now?
Oh yeah, because I know this one, I'm gonna have to make a run with my last one.
Like here?
If I make this, they make. I guess if I make this, they make the tap. There might not be a double. If we nose this, yeah, I think Matt's right. I think if we nose this, make him make the draw. I have a short run.
Okay.
So, give me 6 inches off the stone. I'll throw control.
You hit this, do you?
It's fine.
I mean, I know it's leaving him the 4 foot, but.
And this is a pretty tough tap.
What's that?
This looks like a pretty tough tap.
With control, it's not.
No, he's saying if we throw the draw, their tap is tough. They would probably have to throw a run.
Oh, gotcha. I see what you're saying.
If we make the draw, they're probably still throwing the run, though, huh?
Yeah, he's gonna have to run it probably.
And stick it, right?
Yeah.
Which will be, I'll throw the draw. Yeah, 3 inches outside edge of 12.
I like this call. This was John's original call
Try to throw you like between a 95 and
to throw this draw. It's easier to put a rock into a good place here in the sheet and force Scotland to make a good shot.
Line's good. Top 8, top 4. Line's good.
T.
Easy then.
Line's good.
A lot of weight.
Just have to keep this above the tee line.
Feels good. Feels like plenty.
Should go sideways, but easy.
You don't want to leave Scotland to freeze.
Plenty of room.
Looks like lots.
It's going deep.
You want to go deep?
Yeah,
Let her go.
back here.
Now they've established it's to the tee line. They're trying to get it back as far as they can and maybe leave room for a draw for a single.
Wasn't any slower, huh?
So it went to a plan B there, where they realized it wasn't going to end up where the initial
We both hit 94, John.
target was.
Yeah, they're just trying to get their rock back far enough so if Scotland freezes, Schuster still has a draw for 1.
Yeah.
Well, they took 3 inches outside edge of 12.
Yeah, like that.
So we should really be taking a slightly more than them.
U.S. lying 2, but Luke Carson trying to make his last one
I don't mind a shade
count.
more ice.
Shade more again.
Yeah.
He said I wasn't back in the last one, I was just clean.
Okay.
So,
If you're back in this one, you'll be fine.
yeah.
I think same weight is perfect.
Team USA just misread that piece of ice. They thought it was going to be a little bit slower.
10, but good odds is positive.
Yeah.
John had a lot of room for error above the tee line.
Weight's nice, weight's nice.
Top 4, top 8. Want to freeze it. Want to freeze it. Back 4. Close. Oh, yeah.
T-line.
Plenty room.
Back
close.
four.
Back 8
Coming
almost.
down.
Plenty room. Plenty room.
Back 4.
Don't want to touch it. Don't want to touch it.
Scotland does want to get frozen on this rock in the back of the 4 foot so they don't leave a double.
Good. Chop.
Pretty good result.
I mean, this one's spinning off regardless.
Regardless, we're never going to.
You can see absolutely nothing, so just watching the telly.
So the Scots seem pleased.
Like
firm? Oh, sorry.
It's like a hair off
even
nose.
normal even?
I don't mind firm.
I'm just thinking our shooter stays a little bit easier than normal.
Scotland
going
needed that
crazy.
rock to curl a
We
little
only
bit
need
more
two. We
to
don't need
take
to keep
away
on.
this
So
double.
inch off the edge. Or just edge rock with firm.
John's got 2 options here. He's got the same out-turn draw that he just threw on his first one for a single point.
If I
He's
slash
also
with
got this
Peel and
in-turn
got the
double,
Reds both
running
going,
the
we
red
still
rock
score one,
onto the
wouldn't we?
other.
Yeah.
You like Peel better then?
I kind of like it.
I still think firm still probably gets them rolling out. We can throw firm. I like firm. I'll give you a nice 8.
So the double is potentially for 2.
Schuster trying to get the 2 back that the U.S. lost when Scotland scored in the last end. And that jams in the house, and it'll be a steal of 1 for Scotland.
One red.
The U.S. still leading, but that lead is evaporating. It's down to 2 with 2 ends to go.
Simple, I'm doing it at the end, I'm just coming around the back, I'll come this with the
Yeah, heads up, bro.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Kick straight back and clip
The discussion is on for Team USA.
And it's coming really close to the nose of this, but this is probably just going here too. But
Up 2 with 2 to go.
I think this is good. We might get lucky and pick them all.
Okay.
And regardless, everything's gone out of the front, so.
So Pete, big spot here for the Americans as they look to maybe solidify this game here with some rocks in play and the American third, Chris Plies, going.
Once again with a 2-point lead here, it's important for Team USA to score. So we see John Schuster asking Chris Plies to open up the front. It's about as good as he could do. Team USA lies 2.
Do I have an eye or do I have an eye?
Matt Hamilton taking some credit for maybe seeing what was possible. Chris Plies, he's got the aim.
Really good result here for Chris Plies. You see they picked that one clean through the hole. Spin the other rock to the edge of the 12-foot.
U.S. 2 counters. And Stuart Taylor tries to answer back here for Team Scotland.
Really got to go hard.
Hard look, hard.
Up.
Not throwing well. That rock backed up to the broom a little bit. Runs straight down the sheet. Just about whiffs. Kicks that American Stone over to the side of the house.
Okay. But I think a little bit back, because so then they go under here. So just back 4 is fine.
Okay.
Same.
5-4. Yeah, you got it.
Team USA just keeping things simple here.
I think it's okay.
Rock picked in Chris's hand, or ran over something. He tried to shake it loose.
Let it spin.
Still kind of back 8.
Okay, that's fine. Back
No
8's
panic
good. Back
for
8's the miss here. 2
Plies,
lines
just-
not, so just be sure that's all.
Clean. Perfect. Clean.
14-1
Tried
still.
to have the little flick, see if it would
It needs to be deeper than
respond, and it looks like it has.
Hard. A little more. Yep. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Great concentration there by Chris Plies, able to shake that debris off the bottom of the stone and still make the shot.
Grab your hand a little bit.
Well done for Team
Move it
USA.
outside of that red.
Maybe actually, yeah.
You only got to get
Those
it there.
3 yellows
You wanna throw the same as
essentially
the one
lined
when you
across.
stand there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Here's another look at Chris Plies and what he was dealing with.
So he could feel that rock hit a little debris.
Back 8 foot.
He had the presence of mind to try and shake it loose
14-1 still.
and still get this rock in
It
play.
needs to be deeper than this rock, if you can. Hard. A little more. Yep. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Well done for the U.S. third.
What do you think he's got in the tank? You think he's got 6 flat?
3 counters
6-5.
for Team USA as Luke Carson gets down to business. Scottish skip with the first of his 2 here in the 7th.
Yep, Mark. Yep. Hard. Hard.
Carson with a hard out turn here, trying to hit and roll straight sideways and make a double on these 2 yellows.
It's sweet.
Oh, really? I'm going to roll it here, theoretically, right? But beaks, I'm fine with beaks, too. Just make sure we stay.
Scotland's got one there, but nothing under cover.
Things look pretty good for Team USA now with the entire front of the house wide open. John has a chance to hit and roll towards the middle to lie 3, but
2 feet your way, Matt.
at the end, he will have some sort of a simple shot for at least one.
Weight's good.
Whoa, Matt.
Oh, solid. Close. Yep. Whoa.
Whoa.
A little heavy.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard.
Hard, Matty.
Gotta go. Go, 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 go.
Jesus. Real good. Sick.
Good enough, John.
Trying to keep that in the back of the
enough,
4-foot, but it hangs on for 3rd.
Shot.
Do you think this one's any better? If you're in there?
You can just blast you high then. Corners covering the front of the.
Yeah, okay.
How much that you got? 3/4, 2/3? You knock it all of it, though.
So the U.S. in a comfortable spot here.
2/3. Yeah, we just.
Handful of counters
That's not going anywhere.
with the lead. Pressure squarely on Luke Carson with his last. What can he do here, Pete?
Well, he's looking at this freeze around the corner guard. Should be able to get it locked in here pretty good and possibly force Schuster to draw for one.
There's no point in over curling.
No.
Hey, that's well moved big this way. So.
Trying to take advantage of that rock just behind the tee line as well as that red corner guard.
10-15, I think.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I think 10. I think it's going to curl a lot here. Okay.
We're chance off ice then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, easy.
Final throw, Team Scotland N7.
T-line.
Top 4. Way only.
T-line.
No, T-line.
Room.
Come down.
Close. T-line.
Want to get this frozen, but not
Marks.
bump that Yellowstone.
Whoa.
No.
No.
Mind it. Yeah.
And that may be potential disaster here for Team Scotland.
Carson struggled with that speed and weight control the entire game.
The center of the rock, you know.
I like that junk.
Okay.
Firm.
So now John Schuster with a wide open hit for 4. In the U.S., putting some rocks in play early, keeping the pressure on, watching Scotland miss some shots, and opportunity presenting itself for Schuster to maybe put a lock on this game. Well, it was famously 5 in the 8th that secured Olympic gold. 4 in the 7th might be enough to do the trick this time. 8th end will be played here, our final end in our NBCSN Curling Night in America format. The United States with 4 in the 7th with a big 6-point lead. Pete, normally that would mean concession with an end left, but in the format of our series, things are a little different. You can't concede unless you're run out of rocks.
So the goal here for Scotland is try and put some rocks in play. They obviously need 6. Team Schuster, you see, through the first rock through the rings, they're going to just keep things as simple as they can. As soon as they're able to hit, they will.
We're all there. We're pretty tight.
Coming down. Mine's pretty good. Don't want it too long. That's fine. Dude. There you go, Trey. There you go. That's it. Good Al. Good Al.
Again, the Scotland team will throw out a guard and then try to start firing things to the house. John Schuster and the Americans will go about their business and do what they need to do to put the W in the books.
Other side.
Other way.
And Pete, pretty solid performance for the U.S. Again, they look strong early on.
Throw that rock one like that halfway down.
And that one sliding through the house too. Not really concerned about it at this point with things solidly in hand.
And a really good game by Landsteiner at 91%.
And as Schreiber plays another for Scotland, his young Scottish team, as it moves through the rest of this tournament,
Top 12. Top 12.
be thinking about just a couple of last rock opportunities that never really materialized.
Yeah, they struggle with the ice a little bit, the speed as well as the curl, and that really was the difference in the game. Schuster and Team USA really had a good grasp on it from the beginning.
You can clip it.
Okay, let's try it.
I think normal you could probably get enough to clip it. Okay.
Control.
Yeah.
And Team Schuster just needs to eliminate 3 red rocks to end this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scots need at least 6 to tie.
Hard.
Matt could see just the corner of that on the outturn side.
That's one down.
T's good, Hank.
Hey, we're more. Hey, we're T-line.
T's okay.
Mark Taylor's next.
Get my distance. Mine's
Top
good.
8, baby.
Mine's okay. Do if you can now.
Scots need the rest of the rocks to be on the paint.
Top 8.
Yep.
Top 8.
Hard you can. Right here. Right in.
Good.
Nice. Good sweep.
Yep.
What a nice guy.
Feel.
Let me try and throw it.
You're in the game.
Yeah, I know. He's so funny.
Matt Hamilton next. More rock removal. The request for Hamilton.
Matt's taking a crack at this double for the win.
And got it. That'll do it for Team USA.
He was trying to miss it.
As they've run Team Scotland out of rocks and take the victory here in Raleigh. Just doing what they need to do. Matt Hamilton grazing it enough to get the double and the win.
Not very often the second gets to throw the game winner.
But you know what? They'll take it for their first win of the tournament. More from Raleigh. Coming up in a moment, the U.S. takes it 10-4. NBCSN Curling Night in America has been brought to you by TeamUSAFund.org. Every donation matters. Show your support for Team USA. Visit TeamUSAFund.org to make a gift today. By the members and sponsors of USA Curling. By the World Curling Federation, proud supporter of curling everywhere. And by Toyota, going places. John Schuster's team with a score fest on NBCSN Curling Night in America. A trio of twos and then a big 4 in the 7th to put things away against Luke Carson and Scotland. And the American skip talking about the win with our Tanith White.
All right, John, congratulations. How much of an impact does it have on a tournament like this for you to win this first game on the morale of the team?
Oh, it's really good, especially when there's only 4 teams playing in the tournament. Anytime you can get that first win, you kind of get. It sometimes seems harder to make it up if you drop one early. So it was good to go out here and get a win early.
Plenty of work left to do now for the rest of the week. What was the objective you and your teammates set for this tournament?
We wanted obviously to come out here and try to win all of our games. So coming out and playing strong, this tournament was something that we think is really important for our season.
All right, John, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
John Tanith, thanks. Time now for our Jägermeister shot of the game. And Pete, this shot from John, a beauty here to open the scoring in the first.
Yeah, nice, precise, out-turn tap to the forefoot to give Team USA a 2-point lead. This really sets the tone for the game.
The tap for 2, and the U.S. never look back en route to the 10-4 victory against Scotland.
Nice deuce there, skipper.
Yep, the deuce for the skipper to start things off. Keyed the run as the U.S. prevails. The other games in this draw, the U.S. tandem of Corey Dropkin and Sarah Anderson dropping one against Team Italy 6-5. The Italians also winning in men's play 4-2 over Japan. And the final game of this draw, mixed doubles and a high-scoring affair with Scotland prevailing 10-8 over Team Japan. So after this first draw of our season-long event, the overall team scoring, Italy on top of the standings with a point for each of its wins in that opening session. The United States and Scotland on the board, and Japan looking to get a point or 2 in the next draw. And the Japanese will be able to do it in mixed doubles if they can somehow beat the U.S. pair, Corey Dropkin and Sarah Anderson. The 20-somethings with 2 U.S. national mixed doubles titles to their credit, and they bring their power and precision head-to-head against their Japanese counterparts. That'll be the feature game when we see you on NBCSN Curling Night in America next time out. But on this curling night, the Olympic gold medalist, headlined by John Schuster, taking it to a young Scottish team and putting the game away. 10 for the final. For Tanith White, Pete Fenson, and our entire crew, this is Jason App saying thanks for making this night another terrific NBCSN Curling Night in America.